right, babies, it's that time again. Oh, yeah. Ha 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 ha. It's Friday, and I think I have a fairly calm day ahead of me, so everything should be good. We are in Mark 6. And one of the interesting things I came across was this discussion between James Tabor, Tabor, biblical scholar, and this podcast called Myth Vision on YouTube. And Tabor's position is that the book of Mark is an embarrassment to the writers of Matthew and Luke, and that's why they embellished so much of their writing, not only to dress up his narrative, but also to promote their own particular perspective. Matthew's audience being Jewish and Luke's being primarily Greek. So what's embarrassing about Mark? Well, for one, I'm getting out of Mark 6 now. I'm just, let's stick with Mark 6 first, and then I'll get into the book in general. Mark 6 is about almost 60 verses. It runs through quite a few scenarios, like back to back, which sort of kind of brings the historicity into question. Like, did this really happen? Like this many things back to back? It's a busy day, so probably not. But we have descriptions of. You see, I am wearing my belt. We have descriptions of Jesus not being accepted in his hometown, and we talked about that recently. I'm not sure from where. Well, it might have been in one of the prophetic books, right? So it's interesting that piece continues to come up. I'm also experiencing it in the church that I'm in, where I was telling you about this one guy was prophesying something, and the pastor was sort of looking at him sideways like, dude, aren't you the quiet one who should just be sitting down? Obviously he didn't say that, but it seemed like that was his response from my perspective. I think because otherwise I think he could have been much more enthusiastically supportive of what I thought was a great exhortation to the people. But anyhow, and then there's also something else I came up across on YouTube. This person, her name is Monia Kampstra, and her podcast is called Quantum Prophetic, and I'm now following her on Facebook, and she's already responded, so it's going to be interesting to see how she and I respond. But she's been talking about this whole issue about prophet not being often, like, we'll listen to pastors. There's the fivefold ministry that's mentioned, I think, in the book of Ephesians. We'll listen to apostles, evangelists, pastors, and teachers, but prophets, no. Because prophets usually have a word that's, or something that needs to be changed. And of course, people don't like to to be told they need to change, right? So it goes to show that Jesus in Mark 6 is not accepted for what he's saying, because people are like, hey, isn't this the carpenter's son, and aren't his sisters here with us, and who is this guy? Why is he talking like this with such wisdom? And but the Spirit of God will do that for you, baby. Oh yeah, I've experienced that myself. I've told you stories before about how I've walked into places, speaking as if I totally know what's going on, and I do, because the Spirit's letting me know what's going on, but I shouldn't know what's going on because I'm just visiting. So yeah, I've had those experiences myself. So so there's that, and then there's casting out unclean spirits and creating kind of a stir there. Yes, we have the power over negative influences. And then there's so because of all that, people are like, oh wow, this guy's got power. So now the word gets around, and now crowds are appearing, and Jesus uses whatever small amount of food is available, and he multiplies the food for everyone. Like 5,000 people get fed. Now, did that really happen? Who knows? Could it happen? Of course. God can do anything, and God is in the business of miracles, so to speak. But it could just be a story of just because God is so miraculous, he will take whatever it is you have and he will multiply it so that not only you get your needs met, but so do people around you, and people who, there'll be a miraculous unfolding of that giftedness that starts with you receiving God's gift. That's the truth, whether it really occurred or not. So I think that's more important than deciding if it occurred exactly as it's recorded. However, if God wants to inform us of its actual veracity, then we are all ears, right? Absolutely. And also, what else is there in Mark 6? There's something about so Jesus kind of takes a chill moment from the crowd, and when he returns to his disciples, he sees them struggling out in the ocean, and he walks out to them on the sea. They think it's a ghost, and he just says, "Why are you afraid? It's just me." It's just me, little old Jesus here. So you can kind of picture him saying that, smiling, I think. And he gets in the boat, and as soon as he gets in the boat, the water, the winds die down, everything's calm. And for some reason, there's a strange passage, like there is overall in Mark, and that's why I opened up this message with bringing attention to the difficulty of Mark and why, because of it, it was embellished so much by Matthew and Luke. Not so much John, because John kind of had his own gospel. It's very different than the other three, which are called synoptic because of their similarity. It says that the disciples' hearts were hardened somehow over the event with the multiplying of the food. And because their hearts were hard, it was hard for them to believe what had just happened with Jesus walking on the water. That doesn't make any sense to me. And I guess there are a lot of things like that that don't make any sense in Mark, that are puzzling, and people and scholars call it embarrassing. And interesting enough, and I'll end with this, that when there are things that are potentially embarrassing that are put in the Gospels, scholars consider those things to be more likely historical than not, because if you're trying to embellish something and prop up Jesus, you would most likely put things in there that would not cast any potential criticism or embarrassment about his actions. So there you have it, a little scholarly moment for the morning. Stay true to yourself. Open up a window of your soul for God to enter in, and you'll find that it was the best thing you ever did. Have a good day.